And hello, everyone. Good morning. We are live again. At this time, I am honored to have Mira here with me. Mira Reiss. And Mira, do I pronounce your surname right? Reiss or how?
Absolutely great.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So welcome to the show, Mira. And can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you would describe the work that you do?
Okay. Thank you very, very much. I am really honored to be guest here. And how you told me I am your first guest, so it's twice more important for me. So thank you for this. How you said, my name is Mira, and everybody can hear that I am not English native speaker. And actually, with my name, I took kind of advantage because when some people in England just seen my name in written form, they asked me, well, are you Mira or Myra? And I said, okay, you can call me Myra because Ra, it was very important god in Egyptian mythology. It was
I
like god of
see.
sun. And I
All
said,
right.
I am happy to be your sunshine. I would like to bring this happiness like sun is bringing. But pronunciation of my name is Mira, like miracle. And people laugh at this. And I started to use it later on like my slogan because I do believe, I know that not me is Mira, but we all are miracles. And
That's wonderful.
actually, this is actually my mission, to encourage everybody to realize how important we are, not like our ego, but like our personality, our deep, highest ourself. We are really miracles, and everybody has its important part in this huge, lovely symphony. Put it in your vocabulary, because without even one of us, the symphony wouldn't play the right part. So this is very, very short about me. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Excellent. So I heard some very interesting terms there, Mira. So symphony, as a musician, that my ears immediately spring up. Yeah. So it's about harmony, then, isn't it? And I think you call your business, if you like, the Academy of Holistic Freedom. So can you tell me a bit more about it? I'm particularly interested in the in the use of the term freedom, because this is a show about freedom, really about people finding their freedom through their activity. So tell me what it means to you and why you incorporate that in your name.
Yeah. Actually, to be honest, I think freedom we already have, but we are not aware about this. Yeah. And I put holistic, for some people, this name is not so clear. So it means that I am talking about freedom on all levels. We need to be free on all levels, especially in our mind. And I'm working a lot of this energy when we kind of synchronize and put everything in the harmony again, because I think the most important. And when we are in harmony, we're actually free. We have our freedom inside, but very often we forgotten about this. Yeah, you can, especially in this time, sometimes people feel like victims and blame everybody else. But actually, when we have time and sit down a little bit and calm and go inside, we realize that we are creator of our life. We are creator of our symphony. And this is my aim, to support everybody to realize this freedom is actually in our heart inside. But we need to find sometimes somebody who help us to recognize, to reveal this deep freedom which we have. So, and this I love to encourage everybody to find the best way how to be free. And most important for me is to be free from our limitation, because we have plenty of limitation in our mind, and then we create a lot of like cages around us.
Hmm.
And one day we can realize that it's important we just take this cage out, because doors are always open, and we fly and be free like birds in the sky. So this
Yes.
is my approach. And what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I mean, I'm quite interested in your concept that freedom. I mean, the constraints to freedom are coming from our own mind, aren't they? Really, it's a mindset issue, because in principle we're all born free, aren't we? It's just that we are conditioned throughout our lives and the things we believe, and we perhaps things we've been told about ourselves in our early days that condition a little bit how we look at the world and everything else, and we end up losing our freedom. Would you agree this is more or less what is happening?
Absolutely, absolutely. How I said, we have freedom here, but we put too much limitation. Sometimes I put example like onion inside is our freedom, and we put more and more and more, layers, and then we are identifying with this, let's say, the biggest, the skin outside, and we don't realize that inside what we really are, that we are free, we are already perfect, but we've forgotten this, and this is kind of, I think, the most important, especially I think now, to go inside and find this freedom which we already have, everybody.
Yes, brilliant. And I know that you use a number of tools, and I've seen your video where you talk about sort of the tools that you use, your toolkit, as you say, things like Mongolian stones, Chinese astrology, Hebrew numerology. Are these sort of tools to help people achieve their freedom?
Absolutely. Actually, I was very fortunate during my life. I had plenty of opportunities to meet people who had deep knowledge, but I call this like wisdom, because they were using this knowledge in their life. So they live it, they really manifest this wisdom. It wasn't only in the intellectual level, but they live this wisdom. And this is my aim as well, to share my knowledge, my wisdom with other people. So when I met different people from east part of our world, and I was very fortunate. My first, let's say, main approach is called Dzogchen. It means in Tibetan language total perfection. What means that we all are already total perfect, what we were talking until now, but we forgotten. Yeah? And so it's kind of aim to reconnect with this, our total perfection. Second tool which I have, it's very interesting because it's quite rare approach. It's called Mongolian stones. And this is tool which can kind of help you to reconnect with your real nature. And it is very ancient approach as well. And it was only, transfer from teacher. It was only women lineage directly to the disciple, which were like ready for receiving this knowledge. But in this time everything is open, and I was very fortunate. I met the lady. I asked if I am ready, and she said yes, you can do it. So she showed me how to do it. And I don't know if you would like to go deep in this, or do you want to know more about this approach?
Why not? Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing that I'm mostly interested in those are quite esoteric traditions, aren't they? Age-old traditions, but they're also quite Eastern Asian, Middle Eastern traditions. How did you sort of get interested in that sort of stuff? It's not the evident sort of path, isn't it, for a young
Yeah,
lady like you?
definitely. Actually, what I am doing, I was studying sociology. I wanted to be psychologist, but in my time, I'm from Slovakia. In this time, it wasn't very easy to get on at university, because each year only 15 people was allowed. They were thinking when the students finished what they will do. So it was quite clever. So I went to study sociology. But since I was, young, I was trying to improve myself, to study a lot of like this. So information about ourselves. And this sociology, it was like my first background in science. Now I'm putting all together. I know like blind horse using like Eastern, but I put it in the, let's say, current language and use all together. And by this Eastern, I think that I have kind of connection with this, and I like the vocabulary, the approach, and it's. I think I have connection. It's quite easiest way to say, and I really, because I use it on myself, and I realize they are very good tools to help others to realize their deep talents, gifts, because sometimes actually we are in the situation that we would like to really do some stuff, and but we are like limited with with our education, with our parents, school, so on, and we don't have opportunity to shine our real gifts. And these tools which I have, helping people to reconnect or to reveal their unique gifts which they really have, And then they can fulfill their deep true calling. They can start to be, let's say, more free and more happy. Because in this time, a lot of people is, let's say, in the job, they're in the job, they're not very happy there, they don't enjoy it. And I think it's very important when we love what we are doing, when we share our passion about this, and we are passionate what we are doing, that everything is much easier and we can help others to fulfill their mission. So this is
That's
my.
quite powerful, isn't it? Yeah, I really like sort of this idea. So let's say I'm your client, and Mira, when would you get? You have all this stuff in your toolkit, like the Chinese astrology or the Hebrew numerology. When will you get them out of your toolkit? When you see me getting stuck, or what is sort of the situation that you say, you know what, let's use one of my tools, which are gonna sort of
Yeah.
help you. How
Yeah.
would you use them?
Yeah, definitely, there are kind of steps. And always I ask, I explain my client, what is this for and what they want to do, to do just now. But of course, I can have kind of suggestion, what is the best for them to use in this present moment, because, everything is changing. It's only one stuff which is really, which never changes, that everything is changing. So tomorrow it will be totally different, that our state of energy is always moving. So, and let's say for these Mongolian stones are good kind of when people are stuck or they don't know what they will learn, with some situation. Let's say you have kind of situation in front of you and you are not sure, I go left or right, you would like to make any decision. I am not like, that I'm looking in crystal ball, but we are using these stones and we are not asking like shallow question. Am I going to left or right? No. We just ask, okay, if I decide to go this way, what kind of lessons I am going to learn? Yeah. And then we will find the question answers. And then I tell you honestly, when people are really ready for this approach, they say, "Oh, Mira, you know what? I knew this deep inside, but I didn't believe, that." So I'm saying that these stones are very like helpful to reconnect with our intuition. That you can hear the answer which you really have somewhere, and this voice was very, 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 very loud. Not loud, very, very slow and very silent. Yeah. And this is very, let's say, like first step, but in this, with these stones we can do different method like approaches, like when you solve let's say your connection with somebody, or you want to have any answer about your work, about your spiritual development, there is a lot of approaches. So this is like Mongolian stones. And Chinese astrology, again, this is so huge knowledge. I can know everything, but I took one very important part, because for me everything how I'm using telling very often is like energy, and I like to look at everything like different vibration. And in these approaches they call this different vibration like elements. Yeah. And these elements are connected with everything. They're actually this only, let's say, like a little bit typology of energies, and there are energies everywhere. So it's inside, outside our mind, our emotion, our body. And so with this we can, again, on the beginning, people can find their gifts. This is like first step. Or then second, that what kind of energy is predominating in the person, and what is good to balance this harmony. Because the most important, how we said at the beginning, is harmony, like in the music, like everywhere. Yeah. So this is
Symphony, as you said, right? So it's the same idea, isn't it? Symphony, harmony. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And so I would like to support people to find their own unique way, because we are unique. And that I'm supporting them to realize that the best teacher, let's say guru, is inside. That not me, not somebody outside, but only we are the best teacher. The only one person who can help us are only we. And this is my my approach to support people, not to look. Of course, at the beginning it's good to find somebody who can support you, but then yes, I need to follow my own hard my information.
Yeah, yeah. And this is a powerful message you're giving there, isn't it? Because, people are there to support, but at the end of the day, we do the work ourselves, isn't it? So what you do is really you're helping people to do their inner work, really. Just it's a tool, isn't it? Where you're the guide, shall we say, or people use different names, to help people to find the freedom, to find the truth, to find their inner harmony and balance.
Yeah,
And I can see some similarities in the way you use all these sort of Eastern tools, with perhaps like someone like Carl Gustav Jung, because he was doing that sort of stuff, wasn't he, in his works, and at a time where it felt all this stuff was a little bit, considered discredited,
yeah,
astrology, but he saw the benefits of it because for the same reason, as you just mentioned, he saw it as a tool where you can help people to guide, to take decisions, to think in a more intuitive way about the life. And sometimes we get stuck, isn't it, if we are too rational about how we think about things.
yeah, definitely. And I love him, his approach. Actually, now I'm in the stage, I'm approaching one other approach, which is like his four archetypes, which we already, we have inside of us. And they're like I can give one example is like prostitute and queen. Prostitute, that it's we always, when for example in our job, we are offering somebody and we say, okay, I'm here always for you, you can call me anytime, or you can afford my services, okay, I give you a discount. That we are kind of selling ourselves, that not serving others like a queen. We actually learning the same, because we are just manifesting, our energy outside when we don't believe ourselves. So we are attracting the same people who don't believe towards to us. And this is very important. Really, I love his approach, and he spent a lot of time there and use this information. So I'm happy you mentioned him.
Excellent. Yes, good. Because, yeah, I could definitely see the similarities there. We have a comment there from Katie. It's more about sort of how to access the StreamYard. So, Katie, it's good that you are with us. Yeah, no, StreamYard can be a little bit convoluted with the, getting on Facebook groups and everything. But I hope you're able uh, to listen to our conversation as we speak. And when the conversation is finished, for you and for everyone else, it's going to be available for everyone to stream anyway. So, just giving some information there. Okay, so Mira, you sometimes also describe yourself as a well-being coach. I saw on your website, at least. Again, it's a bit similar question to earlier, but don't you think well-being is something that we're kind of born innately knowing what is good for us, but we kind of lose our way, aren't we, about what is good for us, what is our well-being? Maybe
Yeah.
because of circumstances or our lives or stressful jobs or things that take us out of harmony, perhaps, as you would say yourself. Would you agree with that? Is that something that is again innate in us, but we can regain it with some work?
Yep, definitely. Actually, to be honest, I was always like trying to find the best description for I'm offering. What for I'm offering is not so easy, but this well-being is actually now even in dictionary you can find that it is like happiness, which we have inside. And how we said before, we were born with this freedom, with happiness, with all these, qualities. And actually, I like to use example regarding happiness with babies. When baby is born, when she or he is like fed and dry, it's happy, smiling without any reason. Yeah, but when baby is growing up, we try to teach him, her, but it's not so. We have to, of course, teach the way how to behave in this world. But then the child become condition. Okay, when I said something very nicely, when I repeat, my parents became happy, they club me. So then we started to be conditioned. Then we start to be happy because, we need a reason. Yeah.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
we are losing this unconditioned happiness, freedom, love, which we have. And we are putting this, let's say again, this onion stuff or boxes more and more, cages around us. But still, this happiness is there. It's always there. I love one title of Buddhist book is like, your enlightenment is already in your palm. Our happiness, our well-being, our freedom, we always have it, but we are not kind of able very often, because of all this limitation what we put in ourselves, we are not able to reconnect. So definitely I do agree what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's something that I've been thinking for, for a long time. That actually most of the stuff that we as coaches and therapists are doing is kind of helping people to reconnect with themselves, isn't it? Just things that they kind of already know, but somehow lost their way because life
Yeah.
is can be a little bit complicated sometimes, can get you out of your true self and out of your balance and harmony. Great. So speaking of balance and harmony, I'm just quite curious, Mira. You live on the lovely Isle of Man, and last time we spoke, you were even outside, and it looks so stunning. Sort of the view, the sea in the background, and everything. So I take it it's no particular place that you had roots. Was it a conscious decision to move to the Isle of Man?
Actually, to be honest, how I said, I was born in Slovakia. This is very small and really lovely country in the middle of Slovakia. We have lovely nature there. I'm nature lover. And actually here, I like to be in the flow. And, life brought me here. And when I came here, I had no idea that I will stay. Now I'm here 5 years. I thought that maybe I will here a couple of months and I go. But I really love it here. Because to be honest, here, except the nature, and I have this, I am blessed with sea. I can see sea now when I watch, out from my window. It is a little bit, we can say that time is slipping here. It's, that because it's small, it's most like nature around, and it's only 84,000 people here. We don't have like, skies, roads, high buildings and so on. And it's not like, it's slow here. When they said we have like traffic jam, even in Slovakia, we are small, but in capital Bratislava, in traffic jam, you are stuck there for an hour. Yeah, when you are going, let's say, I don't know, 20 minutes normally. Yeah. And here when it's traffic jam, you have 5, cars in front of you, and it's very, it's easygoing, slowly, and I really love it here. And people are lovely here, and so I'm enjoying. So for people who don't know, actually, this is a small island in Irish Sea, in between UK and Ireland. And it is part of UK, but it's very independent, so very, they have like own government, but of course it's under the UK rules. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So
Yes. And a nice place to be in. And I guess it fits with your whole philosophy of harmony and balance and,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
totally.
definitely. Yeah, you are welcome to come and visit. Now you can. It's not too far anytime, so I will be happy to have you like a guest here.
I might take you up on the offer. Thank you.
Yeah, really. I mean it. I do mean it.
Okay. Something else that I thought, as we're talking here, Bira, and I've seen that Katie's comment earlier. Now I know Katie is one of the people that I know, and I know she likes the Enneagram. That's something that is quite used widely. Is that something you are familiar with, or is that something that has any similarities with what you do? I'm just thinking it's more of an intuitive tool, the Enneagram, and I know it has been influenced by Hebrew philosophy as well. So, and since you're into Hebrew
Yeah.
numerology and all that stuff, I'm just wondering, is it something that you have come across on your path?
Yeah, a little bit, yes, because again, it's about vibration. And I didn't talk about this Hebrew numerology because, I do love it. It's again based on vibration, and Hebrew language is like sacral, language, because it is based on the, on the real vibration of the, let's say, universe. And they have like 22 letters, and each letter has a number and is representing different vibration. It's like let's say DNA, and it's everywhere in whole universe. And this numerology which I'm working with is about the name which you were born with, which you have in your birth certificate. And it means that what kind of vibration you took for this lifetime, to learn to go through them, to bring, like more alive, manifested. And there is like, we can count your, let's say, like challenges. Let's say what you came here because you would like to learn this, then your talents. So you can go through these challenges using your talents and your, let's say, like goal, what you would like to do. And we are talking about like physical level and spiritual level. This physical level is more connected when we are younger, when we develop like children, until 30 plus, let's say. And then this spiritual is going more important, but they are interconnected, like everything. Yeah. And there we have, when we put all these numbers together, we have like our soul destiny or our mission, why we are here. But this is mostly like about our inner, our, let's say somebody is good, like bringing, more information from, let's say, universe, but they are actually our information, and, share it with other one is like catalyst or teacher, or, the different roles. Somebody is like grounded with this earth, and, can help other people through this, let's say, instability, so on. This is really, really, I love this approach. So this is kind of short description. I can talk whole day, but
Yeah, you're clearly passionate about the topic, but that's what you do, isn't it? That's who you are as a person, and that's how, dare I say, that's how you found your freedom as a person, right? By
yeah.
doing this sort of stuff. Because I can tell, for me, uh, finding freedom is about being in your element, isn't it? It's about being in tune with who you really are, your authenticity. And for you, I can tell it has a lot to do with the idea of harmony, of vibrations, of of using these esoteric tools in the same way to help other people to find their harmony and to be in tune with the vibrations. Speaking of these vibrations, just perhaps can you give us a little bit more clarity, because I know it's really important to you. What does that mean to you? This whole idea of vibration.
Okay. I like to use this example from Chinese astrology, which is very easy. They are talking about 5 elements. We have this approach in different, approaches, Tibetan medicine as well, Western philosophy, but this is very easy. I like to use this one. So let's say that we have like wood. Wood is feeding fire, because without wood we can't have fire. When fire done, we have ashes, what is like earth element. In earth element we can find metal, and in metal, when it's cold on metal, it's water condensate. This is like circle, which is bringing like each element to be born. And water is, let's say, like mother for wood. And we are going again, so this is one process when it's like born, that about birth. When we go back, it is like, let's say, fire is a child of the wood, but it's draining a little bit. It's taking energy, from the wood. You understand me? And so each element, they have different connection. I'm not going too deep, but this is only, we would like to say about, let's say, density and about quickiness, frequencies of the energy, how to describe. When I think it's very easy to understand, let's say, wood, what in our philosophy could be like air, which is very, quick, very, spread everywhere. And opposite is earth. Air is condensed and slow. And when we talk about air, you can find people like this predominant air or wood element. There are people who are quick, who are very, enthusiastic, who it's like they have a lot of new ideas. They are innovating, but for them to calm down is not so easy. And airs are, they are stable, usually a little bit bigger. Yeah, they don't care, leave me, and so on. Of course, we all have all these elements inside us. Yeah. But it depends. Sometimes, really you can see somebody who has only one predominant element, but usually we have 2 or 3 in combination. And it depends in which, let's say, season we are, because each season is connected as well with different elements. So let's say spring is like wind, everything is starting, and we are going back to the water, which is like winter. Yeah. So, and this everything, it's kind of interconnected together. And when we know about this, and for example, that you are earth element, for example, yeah, and now is winter, which is water element, for you is good because earth is element which is kind of controlling water. When you have lake, we have water, we have earth ally, so it's keeping. It means that water could kind of drain you because you over control the water, and then your earth element is going a little bit down. So, and we can, let's say, balance this energy inside us in different way, definitely with our lifestyle, our diet, our emotion. We know that, let's say, water is connected with fear, and earth, it's as well, it's kind of worries. So when we have too much of this, we need opposite, which is like courage. It's still the same element, but it's like only our dualistic mind is even giving, this, let's say, label. But this is still the same. But when we know the way how to, let's say, flip this energy and start to use a positive, let's say, quality in our life, everything is going easier. I know it's maybe a little bit complicated, but this is my aim, kind of support people to realize that everything is energy, everything has different vibration. And when we are aware about our, energy, about our vibration, about other people, we can we can understand them better and be more compassionate toward them, and see all this vibration everywhere around us.
Yeah,
So
that's a really powerful message there, isn't it? Sort of really all this work that we are doing is helping us, obviously, but also helping us to connect with others at the end of the day, to communicate better with others, and to and to be, like you said, more compassionate, more empathetic, and realizing, what, people are different, but that's okay, because we're all these different types, sometimes into one, sometimes predominantly one. But I liked also when you were talking, making this cyclical movement almost, because it's almost like a cycle, the seasons coming back. I find that
yeah,
quite appealing, this whole sort of connection, with nature and the cyclical seasons and everything. And I think in many ways our lives are quite similar, isn't it? We go through cycles that more or less like similar types, perhaps, uh, that you can find, because I don't, we're not aliens, we're not humans, so there are things that are coming back, but they come in a slightly unique form because we're all different from each other. And we tend to repeat some of these patterns, others repeat some others. But really, if you have the understanding about the big whole, then you kind of have also more empathy and understanding about, I
yeah,
get where they're coming from. They're different. Sort of, they're coming from a different type of energy, and I guess that's a little bit the enneagram that I mentioned earlier. That's kind of
yeah,
the idea
yeah.
behind that as well.
Yeah, and actually, you what you said is very important. Actually, everything in our life, it is starting and ending, and it's going like in spiral. Yeah, sometimes we are in this circle, like this hamster in the but when we are in spiral, we can develop. And I think this is very important in our life when we realize this. That always is this change, and we accept it. Because when we are happy and everything is going in our way, what may it's easy to accept it, but of course everything is starting and beginning and end, good and bad, it's yin and yang, it's always like this. And when we realize this and we accept changes and accept like what we call bad situation, like our lesson to develop, because actually without these troubles we can't develop. We will be like I saying, like rose in the pot waiting. When we no trouble is coming, no lessons is coming, we can't change. So this is very important. I'm happy you told it. And actually I think in the music the same, the different vibration, different tones
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a similar principle, isn't it?
is the same. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can find this everywhere, everywhere. So, and I think our, on one side, it could looks like very difficult, but when we become like familiar with this process, it's much easier in our life to approach. Okay, now it's autumn outside. It will be winter, not very nice weather in our in our world, but what we can do, it's alive. Yeah. So yeah, thank you that you mentioned this. Yeah.
Brilliant. Excellent. Well, Mira, that was been has been a very fascinating talk. I'm very pleased that we had this opportunity to discuss all this stuff, because I think there is a lot of similarities about how I think about things, even though I sort of generally operate in different fields than you do. But we kind of I think have similar ideas about how to help people, how to help people find the freedom, their balance, and just being more themselves, and the well-being, which I think is a really important in our quite stressful today life, unless you live on the Isle of Man, of course. Okay, so yeah, I guess last question for you, Mira. Can you tell people where they can find you online? And I also know that you are doing a course at the moment. Can you tell us a little bit more about this course?
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. And yep, I am on different social medias, Facebook, LinkedIn, and if you would be so kind, I can maybe send you my linked tree, when people can find all my connection. If it will be
Yeah,
okay with you,
please do. Yeah.
and I will be very happy to connect with everybody, and we can have a lovely talk, and to find the best way how I can support others to find their unique way how to work with their inner true wisdom. And thank you asking me about my course. This is quite very important for me, to be honest, because 1 year ago I had even trouble to put my picture on the Facebook. Yeah, sorry, I did put it. Maybe 3 years ago I wouldn't, but 1 year ago I never ever went like live, any video, nothing about me. I had one picture which I use everywhere, white and black, white and black. But then I realized, I knew this long time, that I am the best brand for my services. Then I need to change my approach, because I didn't want to go live, because I didn't feel like comfortable because of my language, age. I don't know if I will remember everything and so on. But then I was like, I said myself, okay, I have to change. And actually, November 17 last year, I went for my first ever talk, live. I didn't even have like question or anything. And I was talking, what I love, what we are talking now, I really enjoyed. I said, doesn't matter, my fears, my ego, which was putting inside. Then maybe 1 month later, I went first time like live on Facebook on one group where I was talking only on my own. And then I said, okay, really, this is only about my ego limiting me. And I found shortcuts how to change this mindset, which I had for ages, ages. I had even trouble really put picture on mine to anybody. I was traveling in Scotland some years ago, and I took like in the nature, and I took plenty of pictures, but it was no picture with me. And everybody thought, have you ever been here, there? Because we can see you. So this was my approach. I didn't want to be visible. But then, after this, when I did this, let's say, like big shift in my mindset, and I find different approaches how to change. So I said, I need to help others, because I know exactly, I was ages, ever afraid to go live. So, and I did this course, which is called How to Stop to Have Fear of Being Visible on Social Media. And I called it like three F strategies, because we have fear and we want to have fun making videos. So when in between is like flick the switch. And this is an online course which you can do on your own pace. There are some videos, some workbooks. There are some meditation as well, like affirmation. And I think it's very useful, because I was talking to many people and they said, yes, Mira, we needed this. And especially, in this time, without this, we can't even survive, without being visible. So thank you for this opportunity. I could tell about this. Thank you.
You are more than welcome, Mira. And here you heard it first. Your ego gets in the way sometimes of, when you worry about your visibility online. So, Mira can help you to get rid of your ego. So thank you so
Yeah.
much, Mira. It was an absolute pleasure. And I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Thank you very, very much. It was very, very, very pleasure. And I hope we can talk again. Okay. Have a lovely time. Bye bye.